Good morning, everybody. Let's see if I can do this again because my phone just crapped out on me for some reason. It's because of the fact that I had an overloaded memory. But anyhow, it is. It's Saturday the 16th, and I have a lot to talk about because there's been a lot going on in the last week, whatever it was last I put in a video. Monday and Tuesday was not your normal Monday, Tuesday. Monday, it was rainy pretty much all day, so I didn't get very busy at work, but then Tuesday came along and it felt like a Monday because it was just like a crowd of people. And I was like, oh, I hope I have enough food for today. The reason why I said that is because the fact that I'm trying not to make too much because of the information I learned not too long ago, within the last week or two. The reason why we do what we do with changing out the every 2 days or so we change everything out. So whatever I make Monday should try to last until Wednesday, and then whatever I make Wednesday should last until at least Friday. I might have to make something in between, the days that I've been taught to set it up for. That way, one, I don't run out of anything, and two, nothing sits longer than 2 days. So let's say I make a pan of just tomatoes. That pan of tomatoes should be good for at least 2 days. At least 2 days. Anything over 2 days is risking just going bad or just looking not so good. So I'm learning these things. Granted, I'm learning it towards the end of the school year, but at least I'm still learning these. At least I'm learning and not just going, hey, I'm gonna do it, because a lot of the other places I've worked, it's like, granted, a lot of the places I've worked in the past were fast food. Not saying that mine is not fast food, but fast food where a pan worth of tomatoes is lucky to last 4 to 5 hours because of how much we use up in some of the places I've worked. But I mean, far as I'm seeing it, I haven't heard anything otherwise. Things are going great at my job. I'm really happy that they're working with me to be flexible enough to take care of my wife. Which brings us to Wednesday, Thursday. Wednesday morning, we had to get up and drive into St. Louis and get to her appointment at 10:45 in the morning. And, well, here, let me go back. Sorry, I'm bouncing all over the place. Monday, it rained all day, so Monday was pretty slow. And then Tuesday came around, and it was a gorgeous, beautiful day. Granted, the high was only about 68, 69, if it got that high. So I got slammed at work. Unfortunately, because I thought I had made enough extra and backup on Tuesday, I wasn't expecting to get it slammed as hard as I did. So unfortunately, I did not have a lot of extras or a lot of stuff left over for them to work on Wednesday and Thursday while I was out of town. So I had to deeply apologize come Friday because I was like, oh, I thought I had enough, and I got slammed. And there, my coworker who did all the prep work for my venue was like, we were busting, she was busting my chops, and I didn't know we were just joking around because that's what we do all the time. We're very lighthearted people. We don't take anything like uber serious, except for doing our jobs, of course. But of course, I was very apologetic when I came in Friday. Wednesday, driving into St. Louis for her Wednesday appointment. From the time we left Brawla or Lillard left the house the time we got to our hotel room Wednesday night, we were getting, I mean, rain upon rain upon rain. There was one point in time where I was like, if it gets any harder and I'm like driving less than 40 miles per hour, I'm gonna pull over. I'm gonna find the nearest off ramp to pull over until it stops raining. But I was like, I can't do that. I've got to be there by such and such a time. Granted, the hard rain was brief, but still, it was one of those like everybody's slowing to the highway speed was 70, and I think everybody was slowing down to like almost 40 at one point in time. At least I was. A lot of the truck drivers that were on the road with us were driving slow, and they had their hazard lights blinking and whatnot. And there was one point in time where I was like, I knew there was a line of trucks in front of me because I tried to move over and pass them, and I moved over and looked ahead and went, nope, and moved back into the slow lane, hit my hazard lights, kept my distance, and every so often a car would like come and get in between me and the truck, the truck in front of me, and I left enough room for another truck to get in front of me, and I'm like, are you that foolhardy? I'm giving myself enough room because I know if that truck in front of me stops on this slick road, I need so many feet or so many yards, like, maybe 10 to 20 yards to basically decelerate and not hit the truck in front of me. But then, of course, the people who thought, nothing, it's just a rainy day. Let's just drive at 50 plus miles per hour and go flying past everybody. I'm just like, one rule that I learned as a child through my dad was the more hazards on the road, like construction, rain, snow, anything like that, you decrease your mileage per hour 5 for every hazard. The bigger hazards, like the rainstorm we had, 10 miles per hour. You decrease your speed by 10. I was decreasing my speed by 15 because my reaction time might maybe slower than my dad's back in his day. And Jerry and I were discussing it, and I said, anytime you see a trucker with his hazard lights flashing, don't pass him because either he's got engine problems or he knows of a problem up ahead or the roads are too slick. He's trying to warn everybody around him that knows what it means to be very mindful and be very, very cautious. So I was using a combination of stuff that I learned from remember my dad doing when he was driving, and I was, in my teen, before he passed away, basically, during the trips to St. Louis from Phoenix for my Aunt Helen and my grandmother. And I remember him doing certain things. I was like, "What, Dad? What you doing? You see the truck in front of you? Yeah. See his lights flashing? Yeah. That means there's problems. Either he's got a problem or there's a problem ahead, and they're just trying to let everybody else know." That, in fact, are one of the tricks that he used to use all the time, and I learned it, and I use it myself, is anytime you got a big old rig that passes you, and he puts on his blinker to come in front of you, if you flick your lights or your high beams, depending on what time of day you're driving, that's basically telling him, go ahead and pull over, I'm giving you room, And a lot of the old truckers that know that trick will flick their lights to say thank you when they get into position. So I use that all the time. I mean, I'm starting to remember these things because I'm like, if I'm going to be the designated driver, because Jerry is, she's not, I don't know if she's clinically blind, but the second appointment she had was with a eye doctor to give her eyes a full examination to send a report to Social Security to determine her level of visual acuity and see if she can get benefits. But at this point in time, because of her floaters or her eye problems, I'm basically the designated driver. That's why I have to take off to take her to appointments or take her to St. Louis for appointments or wherever. She's got a doctor that her eye doctor is in Lebanon, Missouri, which is westbound from Rolla. I have to drive her because her eyes are not good enough to drive on a highway. At least I won't let her. She has enough ocular problems here at the house. I don't want to risk her getting into any trouble on the highway. But that was when Wednesday was the surgical team to look at her leg to see if she can do any weight bearing. No weight bearing for another 3 months. So by the time we go back to see her surgical team to see if she can do any weight bearing, it will be on her birthday. I'm hoping when we go for her birthday, they're like, yeah, guess what? Happy birthday. Start walking. But I had brought the her walker, not the rollator, her actual walker, um, just in case they said yes, you can start walking, because I know how much she wants to be like, take this wheelchair, throw it into the dump. I am tired and done with it. So that was a little bit of a bummer, but otherwise, you know, things are going good. She's still healing. She's doing really good. So we stayed at a hotel. Is it Hotel Super 8 or whatever it's called? In Washington, Missouri. It didn't cost us much. I don't know, like $87 or something like that. Of course, we have the hotels.com membership card, so that gives us a discount. But we stayed the night there, and oh man, I will tell you this much, and I don't know if it's because of the fact that it was separate beds or what, but I slept like a baby. I mean, I just didn't have to worry about Jerry disturbed me in the middle of the night or anything like that. I got lots and lots of sleep, and I think part of that was just because of the fact that I spent most of the day either pushing or driving Jerry around. But Thursday morning, she had the reason why we stayed over is because of the fact that, one, I didn't want to drive all the way home Wednesday night and then have to turn around and drive all the way back to an appointment in Washington, Missouri at, well, I would have had to leave here about 8:30, 9 o'clock to get up there by 11 or whatever time it was. But we drove up there. We stayed the night, drove over to her eye doctor. They did all these different exams, and one of the things that they did was you stick your head in this machine, and every time you see the light, wherever it is, you got to look straight forward. You can't look for it. You got to just keep your eyes forward. And every time you saw the light, you hit the clicker, and it will help determine your range of your field of vision. Jerry has a very good memory, so when they did like the tell me what you see on the screen test, was not that good. Let me just tell you, she can't see anything small, you know. But because of her memory, she tries to use her memory to do the other eye when they say switch eyes, and she let him know I remember what I saw, so I can tell you what I saw, but you know, so not her vision is not that good. I'll be honest with you. From what I could understand from the eye doctor, her vision is failing, and the doctor did say something about besides seeing blood vessels and whatnot in the eye. His concern was more the fact of that she's starting to develop cataracts. And I'm like, oh, great. I know what that is. My cousin had that before he passed away. And basically, even though he wanted to deny it, he was definitely having visual problems. So that's one thing to worry about for future events. But once we got done with that appointment, we went to Five Below, took a look around, got a few little things, mostly foodstuffs that we don't find that often, like gummy bears that I really like, and I got beef jerky, even though I can find this particular type of beef jerky here in Rolla, but I haven't had it in a while, and I figured, you know what? Jay said, get whatever I want because we're out and about, and it's a, fair treat, and so I grabbed a few things. I grabbed some candies and snack goods that I don't get that often, and I'm like, don't eat them all at once. Have a couple here, have a couple there. But the one thing that I was surprised at, because I love gummy bears, and I usually get like a bag of their assorted flavors. Because, I mean, the original gummy bears before they hit America was just like all the different flavors in one bag. And some people don't like all the different flavors. Like, I'm not a big fan of cherry. I don't like the cherry flavored ones. I don't like the red ones. I like the white ones, the yellow ones. But the ones that I really love that you don't find that much, maybe 4 or 5 out of a small bag of the pineapple flavored ones, the white ones. And those are my favorite. And as I was looking at the candy section with all the gummy bears, I got a bag of watermelon flavored gummies. They look like little slices of watermelon. And then I was looking at the gummy bears, like, do I want gummy bears or do I want something else? And then I noticed, oh, wait a minute, they've got like bags of just one flavor. And they had a whole bag of pineapple flavored gummy bears. And I just went, thank you, I'll take that. Surprised I didn't buy half a dozen bags for $1, or $1 a bag or whatever it is. But, so then Jerry Ann and I had a discussion, do we want to go and sit down and have lunch, dinner, someplace like Bob Evans or something like that, or push her through the Dollar Tree up there in Washington, Missouri. And I was like, well, it's up to you. I mean, I don't care. I will push. The only thing I'm worried about is, the narrowness of aisles. That's my only big thing. And, she goes, well, I don't know. I said, well, I'm going to run into Five Below and do what we're going to do here, and then we'll decide what to do elsewhere. She had a shopping pickup at Target. Now, most of the stuff that we got at Target were necessities. We didn't just go willy-nilly to blow money just because we're in Washington, which is what we normally do when we're up there. But I said, I'm going to let you sit in the car while I go running to Five Below and do whatever. I'll, talk to you on the phone to find the items that you wanted me to find, which we found, but then we got home and Jerry looked at it and goes, I don't think I can use this. There's not enough room on my nightstand for a charging dock instead of having all the little wires. And I know I could use it on my nightstand because my old charging dock is kind of too big, too bulky, and it doesn't do all 3 of my devices. It doesn't charge my phone anymore. And I don't know if that's my phone or where I'm setting it or just the internal wiring. It might be goofy because we got it from Amazon as is, like it was a returned item, but the box looked damaged. And granted, the item in the box did not look damaged, but that doesn't mean that they returned it because they were having issues of their own. I don't know. But I came back from Five Below and I was like, okay, did you make the decision? She goes, yeah, I don't think I want to go into Dollar Tree. I'm like, well, why not? And She's like, I just saw a gentleman pushing his wife into the Dollar Tree, and I don't think it would be wise to have two wheelchairs in the Dollar Tree. And I just went, okay, so we'll go out to eat. Where do you want to go eat? You want to go here in town at Bob Evans? Are you hungry right now? I mean, she goes, well, how hungry are you? And I'm like, well, I'm satisfied enough that I can last until at least Sullivan, where there's a Cracker Barrel. So that's where we ended up going. And even though the aisles at Cracker Barrel to look at their little gift shop area, were kind of narrow, the staff there were excellent people. As soon as they saw me pushing Jerry up towards the booth to get into the dining area, the lady removed a couple chairs right there at the front, so we didn't have to worry about maneuvering through the whole place to accommodate Jerry's wheelchair. So we sat down and we're trying to decide, do we want their breakfast menu? Do we want their lunch menu? It was all just like 15 minutes before their dinner, bleh, I can't talk. Their dinner menu started, but their menu is pretty much 24/7 no matter what. Surprisingly enough, neither one of us got breakfast. I got their meatloaf platter. I love their meatloaf. And Jerry got turkey and stuffing and mashed sweet potato. And the only thing she didn't like about my meatloaf, because we always try each other's plate, is the edges on the meatloaf were a little crispy, so it was not exactly soft enough for her palate because of her mouth. But her the turkey and the stuffing and the gravy on top of both was just excellent. Of course, I finished up all my food because I'm like, I'm hungry. I have not eaten since the continental breakfast, and that wasn't even that big. It was practically non-existent, is basically what it was. No eggs, just waffles, hard-boiled eggs. I'm not complaining because every place offers different stuff. I mean, some places have pre-made folded scrambled egg where all you have to do is keep it in the little sleeve that it's in, throw it in the microwave to heat it up, and you're good to go. Other people just have the waffle, So, but I ate my food, of course, and then Jerry got full, and I'm like, "Do you want to take it home? What do you want to do?" She goes, "I don't know," and I'm like, "Well, I'm still hungry. Can I finish it?" So I ended up finishing up her plate, and I was like, "If you want to, we can order, a second plate for you to take home." She goes, well, "How much was that plate?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And I looked at the receipt. I'm like, "Oh, yours was, $11," because we told the waitress lunch menu. It's all right. It happens. She goes, "No, I don't think I want to spend that much for another plate, And I'm like, "Are you sure?" It's like, you don't get very many good home-cooked meals because you have issues at home. I think a lot of the issues here at the house is certain stressors and certain things that both of us get stressed out about that I'm not going to really talk about because me trying to explain to people what goes on in this house that stresses both of us out gets all kinds of backlash, and I don't need that. But we got home Thursday early evening, and I had already told Mom it was going to be a fend for yourself situation because I didn't know what time I was going to get home Thursday. I thought I was going to get home later because I didn't know what time her appointment was. But I feel that the trip and the visit to the doctors was good, even though it's kind of like for Jerry especially because she's the one who's dealing with it the most. The whole having to do 3 more months and, no weight bearing. Now, the thing is, what they mean by no weight bearing is they don't really want her to put pressure on the right leg. That does not mean she can't get on her rollator and come out to the living room, open up curtains and, see the sunlight and see the beauty of the day, you know. But for me, it was more like, oh, great, 3 more months of doing this or doing that. And, I didn't know what was going to happen Friday. And I'll tell you about Friday here in a second. But I was just thinking, not the factor of what all I still have to deal with for Jerry, but it's just like Jerry and her issue, her physical and psychological status. Now, psychologically, she's doing pretty good. I mean, she has good days, she has her bad days. Everybody has that. Everybody has a bad day once in a while. But she tries her best to, see the silver lining. That's one of the things that's been, keeping her going and helping her heal faster is just that positivity. And I love her for it. Granted, there are some days where it's like, oh, please, too early. But she has her moments. So do I. And I've gotten information on two different. Well, one of them is solely online. The other one is just like up and around the corner, like a block or two away. Professional help, outpatient help, basically is what it's called. I just have to get the time to go do it. Which sounds like I might get it pretty soon. Which brings us to Friday. Now, anybody who's watched Jerry's channel, yesterday's vlog and this morning's vlog, you will find that we are getting, because of Medicaid, we are getting home health assistance through Hospice. Basically, 2 days a week, she has somebody coming in to do her wound care, and another person on 2 other days is coming in for, I don't know I forgot what it was. But she's got 2 different people. One's a wound care specialist. The other one is, I think, just to come in for well care. And then I don't know if she's getting a person 5 days out of the week for a couple hours to come in and just clean and do whatever Jerry needs her to do. Clean dishes, whatever. And then they asked us, and I was sitting in on with the nurse that came in, or the person that came in. I don't know if she was a nurse or whatnot, but she was medical because she had all the equipment to check Jerry's heart rate and blood pressure and temperature, do her vitals, basically. The lady, I can't remember names, so I'm sorry. That, in fact, I don't want to mention names, so I guess it's good that I forgot names. But the lady wanted to have me change Jerry's wound dressings to make sure I know I was doing a good job, and I was able to do it on the days that the specialist couldn't come in and whatnot. But she was pleased with my ability to do it and knowledge of how to do it. And I'm like, well, between Jerry talking me through it and me just picking it up, and wasn't trying to be prideful or boastful. I was just kind of like being humbled by it, like, I've been taught, So she's got that covered, and surprisingly enough, one of the questions they asked, which I was kind of like, what? They asked if Jay wanted a minister to come in every so often, just to, whatever. And I wasn't saying yay or nay to anything, because I was like, any help I can get, I will take. So it sounds like I'm going, not just me, but Jerry's going to get the help she needs, which will help alleviate some of my stress and concerns and not have me pulling my hair out on the weekends because I got so much to do. Um, so I'm like, okay. They gave us a pamphlet, a booklet of information with all kinds of different pamphlets and a little book inside for me to read. Like prepping for the end of her days and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm not really ready for that, but yeah, I think I need to read that and try to find a way to deal and be prepared. And of course, I was talking to Mom about it because she's the only other person I have nearby to call or to talk to without having to make a phone call and hope that somebody is there to talk to, one of her friends or sisters or people I feel I can talk to, which, to be honest with you, far and few in between. Not because of the fact that I don't want to talk to them, it's because of the fact that sometimes I just don't know how to approach the situation. And of course, now I'm starting to tear up because just the thought of it is irritating. See, the only person I've had in my life that I had time to prep for their end of time, end of days, however you want to put it, was my father-in-law, because we knew he was sick and we knew he was slipping. So we kind of had time to prep for that and kind of knew he would be not with us for too much longer, especially when he went into the hospice care. Excuse me. I didn't have time to prepare for, Aunt Helen was, I knew she was an aunt, I just didn't know her that well. So it was just kind of like, okay, yeah, I can tell it's a surprise to my mom, but I only knew that Aunt Helen was my grandmother's sister. You know, I didn't remember anything else about her except for stories. And Grandma was kind of a surprise because we thought she was doing fine and dandy. Nobody gave us like, oh yeah, she hasn't been eating, blah blah blah, da 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 da. No, at least I didn't find out about it until after the fact, and so it was a surprise to me. And as for my father, that was a total like sideswiping out of the blue. Didn't see it coming. Hit you like a Mack truck, in a four-way stop that you didn't stop at. Uh, it, you know, that hit me pretty hard. And then my Aunt Kay was kind of like, we all knew Aunt Kay could be dropping any moment now because, you know, I don't know how many heart attacks and triple bypass surgeries and just all kinds of bloodborne health problems. If it was in our genetic gene pool to have the problem, she had it. I mean, like diabetes, heart problems, high blood pressure, all that stuff. So it was kind of like one of those, like, it wasn't a surprise because we all kind of sat around and said, yeah, she was holding out for Jim, my father, or as I'm going to call him, Big Jim. But everybody was holding out, everybody knew she was holding out for Big Jim. And we knew that, she would be leaving us anytime after my father passed away. So it was kind of like one of those. We all knew she was hanging on just for him because, she was the oldest girl in the family. He was the youngest boy in the youngest member of the family. You know, they were brother and sister, and when ever there was a problem, guess who was there to solve it or fix it? Kay, or Aunt Kay. And she was a very tough woman from the stories I heard. I mean, how many mothers would come upstairs from the apartments that they lived in, break through the door, and threaten the son-in-law that if she ever heard her daughter screaming in whatever reason, whether it was anger or pain, I think it was Uncle Hank. Uncle Hank was his name. He was still a good member of the family. Everybody else loved him. It was just, yeah. But she would come upstairs with a shoe in her hand, like, I'm gonna beat the, But that was Kay. So, it's not that Jerry's terminal. It's not. Jerry's got years left on her. How many years? God only knows. Jerry's positivity and willingness to fight, and she's not ready to let go. She's like, I got too much life left in me to live, and too much more I want to do, and we're both fighting. We're both standing side by side, going, no. If anything is going to take us out, it's not going to be cancer. It's going to be something, natural or yes, I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, cancer is natural." Blah blah. No, cancer is not really natural. Cancer has only been a blip on the radar for maybe 100 to 150 years. Cancer was not a big thing back before the Industrial Revolution. And I personally think that the Industrial Revolution is what has brought about a lot of the diseases and ailments nowadays. I mean, sugar. The sugar used to make chocolate, to turn cocoa into chocolat. And that is probably one of the leading causes for diabetes. Cancer in itself. I think the first known recorded thing of cancer was back in early 1800s, something like that. I don't know though. I'm not I don't study medicine and whatnot. I've only heard things, so I'm pretty sure that somebody out there could tell me exactly when the first case of cancer was recorded. Not saying that cancer hasn't been around dormant in our genes until the Industrial Revolution, because it was like the Black Plague. That was one of the first known natural things, in recorded medical history that wiped out nearly, what did they say, almost half to 3/4 of Europe. Then we had the smallpox epidemic here in the States. That's medical science, and I'm not a big fan of medical science. But I think because of all the changes due to the Industrial Revolution, that's when you started seeing more and more health issues and problems with people's health. But yesterday, let's get on to this. Yesterday was a very interesting thing. I was at work when the one lady came in earlier the day, also from Hospice, to do just a base need evaluation. And then the lady who came in the evening time after I got off work was more into the medical part of her well care. I'm just happy that we got these ladies to come in to look at the situation and go, okay, this is what we suggest. we can do this, and and the first lady, must have written down all the notes and whatnot and exchanged information with the medical lady who came in to evaluate Jerry Ann's medical needs and state of being. And by the sounds of things, I will get some relief from having to do so much on the weekends. Now, granted, about 4 weeks from Monday, school will be out. I will be temporarily out of a job. Diane and I have talked, and if things go well, I might be able to take a short break from working. And if it goes really well, I won't have to work at all during summertime. And by the time fall comes around, or before fall comes around, hopefully after her birthday, like late July, early August, we'll evaluate our situation and decide what's necessary, whether it's getting a part-time. Well, actually, hopefully see, if I get out May 13th, she has a May 20th appointment I have a May 20th appointment. She doesn't have another major appointment that I know about, which will be back in St. Louis on her birthday in July. So maybe early June, mid-June, we'll assess the situation of our income through YouTube, mostly through YouTube, some from unemployment, and I don't know if she's getting anything for her because of her her ocular disability. So maybe by June, we'll evaluate the situation and see if I need to go back to work. We have already talked about, if I have to work, she wants it to be a part-time job. Not only for my well-being, but for her well-being as well. And yeah. I actually wanted to sit down and talk to one of the two ladies for hospice that came in Friday about future plans and desires, basically, from both of us. Because I think, personally, and since it doesn't sound like there's going to be an issue, I personally think if she's given a term of life situation, or one of those, you've got 6 months to live, how do you want to spend the last of your 6 months? And if, knowing my wife the way I know her, is if she was given that kind of situation, which she has not, I know she'd be like, I want to go do this, and this. Is that possible? Can I cross off some things from my bucket list? Or what can I do to extend that time frame? Because I know she'll want to go out with a bang and not laying in bed whimpering in pain because of one thing or another. But I know if I was given hey, you've got 6 months to 6 months to live to get your affairs in order, I'd be like, pretty much, I have no affairs. I mean, it's like, my stuff can go to whomever, I don't have any kids. I would like to give some of my stuff to my cousin's kids, otherwise the rest of it can go into an estate sale or something like that, and that money could be given to research on diabetes or research on cancer or whatever I put in my will, basically. You know, I don't have siblings to squabble over. Well, he liked me the most, so I should be able to get whatever I want first. No. I've already seen that in some families, and I'm like, no, no, no. Either that or something will happen, and there will be some sort of bitter resentment over it, and I don't need that, follow me to wherever I go. But yeah, if I was given a date or a timeline, I'd be like, you know what? If I'm gonna go my way. I'm gonna go out with a bang. I'm gonna go travel around and see the world and spend my last dime, and that way I don't have to worry about people, squabbling over my money or whatever. Which I don't think I'll have, but it's one of those things where it's just like, really? As far as I'm concerned, I'll write you out a will, and I'll put down on the bottom of the will, if I am not put to rest the way I want to be put to rest, I will haunt your ass to the end of the days. But that's just me, because I'm nuts. And yes, there are certain states here in America, I found out this. There are a couple different states here in America that recognize the Norse pagan or Viking burial rites, which is basically either put my butt on a boat and float me out in the middle of the river and light it on fire, or put me on a big old pyre and light my butt on fire. I don't want to be cremated by a machine, and I don't want to be buried in the ground. I was born of ashes. I will come from, I'll return to ashes. Not me particularly, but, mankind in general, the way God created mankind. God took a handful of dirt, breathed life into it, molded it into what we are now, and that's how I want to return. I don't want to be buried in the ground, slowly rotting away in a casket. No. And I don't want to be put in a kiln to be turned into ashes. Put me on a boat, light me up, or put me on a pyre and light me up. That's the way I want to go. That's the way I want my body to be dealt with. But sounds grim when I'm talking about, what to do with an empty vessel. The vessel was once clay that God breathed life into, and that's what we're going to return to when we die. I don't want to be... the idea of what they do nowadays for embalming and putting your body in a casket and putting your body 6 feet underground. They've dug up caskets from back in the, pioneer days that it's like, okay, they're not gooey or anything like that. They're dried up bones. Nowadays, because of all the embalming methods and whatnot, it almost sounds like what they did in Egypt. And they've dug up bodies in Egypt that are all gooey and... No. Mummies that are still whole. Granted, their organs and whatnot have been removed by what sounds like a very painful process, but you're dead. You won't feel it. But I don't want that. I want to be basically turned back into a pile of ashes. And I have a feeling by the time I pass away, since I don't have any kids, it's going to be up to my cousin's kids. Either that or they're going to find my dead decomposing body in the back end of an RV somewhere in the middle of the woods. I laugh because of the fact that it's like, I think about it, I'm like, I have no siblings, I have no kids. I have cousins, but I'm not really close to any of them because we're so spread out that it's like my closest cousins are somewhere in Sullivan or Cuba, Missouri, or my cousin's cousin. Oh my God, what would they be? My fourth cousin, third or fourth cousin live up in Kansas City, and I really don't know them because they're from my one cousin who had issues with two two different wives, and they all live near their mother up in Kansas City. Don't know why. It's their choice. I don't. I'm not part of their background. I'm not. I doubt they would recognize. Two of them that I know about would recognize when they were babies. I don't know if they would recognize me, Luke Jr. and was it Ashley or I can't remember the other one. The little girl before he moved up to Colorado or we moved to Missouri. I don't know, but I might not know them by looks and whatnot, but I know some by name, and I don't care what our distance is. I love them anyhow because they're family. Like my Aunt Lee used to say, "Blood is thicker than water." You know. But to get down to brass tacks, the visitation that I was part of seemed to go very well. The lady was kind of impressed with my knowledge and ability to do wound care. Of course, I've had almost 6 months worth of practice. 4 months. Yeah, about 4 months worth of practice ever since she came back from. Actually, no, it hasn't even been that much. When did these wounds start becoming a problem that we had to address them on a regular basis? March? 2 months. So that's what? 60, about 60 days worth of learning how to do this to this point where I got good enough to not have too many problems. The only problem I have with wound care is it takes time, and sometimes the tape doesn't want to stick because of Jerry's skin. Or if she's too warm, she sweats a little bit, which makes it hard for the tape to stick to. So it's kind of like one of those, but I'm just hoping that with the two different people coming in to see Jerry's needs and find out about her issues and medical history and all that fun stuff. I don't know how soon these people will start, whether they're going to start Monday or is it going to be a process of waiting for paperwork to get finished and signed and, all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like, That, in fact, one of the things that we learned yesterday through this lady is there's only so many people, only so many people in the Rolla area that work with the hospice system for home care instead of in a building or in a facility. And I was just kind of like, okay, well, that's why they can only have a wound care specialist come in twice a week, and then another specialist coming in twice a week. And I don't know who else is part of the care system that's going to be coming in to help out. I just know it's one particular person is coming in for like helping Jerry with showers and cleaning and whatever and anything like that. And then there's the wound specialist or medical specialist coming in twice a week to check on her vitals and how her healing is progressing. And then I don't know when the minister is supposed to come in to just sit down and talk to Jerry and whatever. I don't know what's going to go on with that situation. Yeah, that might be an interesting. That might be interesting itself. Because, I mean, neither one of us have been going to a church, a building, in years. I'm sitting here in my personal space that still needs work on. And I don't really practice anything. I mean, I believe in God and the Holy Father, but I also study, areas outside of the Christian realm that most Christians would frown upon. And I'm just hoping that this minister that comes in for Jerry is open-minded enough to go, you don't practice that. You believe in God still. You believe in Jesus. You follow, follow the word of the Bible. And I'll be like, yeah, I'm just looking into my historical background, and I don't follow or practice any kind of other religion. I mean, yeah, I read about it. I understand it, and that's about it. I use some of it to, I mean, even Christians would I know a lot of Christians that burn candles, not for the same cleansing purposes as I use them for, but who doesn't burn a candle once in a while for the effervescence, the scent, smells? I don't know. But anyhow, this video is getting almost to an hour, and I knew it was going to be pretty long because of the content and the amount of time. Yeah, since the last time I did a video. So I want to try to get off this before it gets too much longer. Still working in here. Still trying to deal with different things, and I'm hoping with all the stuff that's supposed to be happening soon, it will alleviate my time, or some of my time, to deal with this room and all the things I need to deal with. But anyhow, we'll find out. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. If you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Any questions or comments about this particular video, go ahead and put it in the question comment box. If you're new to my channel and you want to hear more on what's going on between Jerry's health and my situations and just our lives in general, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you do that, a little bell will pop up. Click on that bell and YouTube will let you know when I put in my next video. And until next time, you guys have a good day. Enjoy. Bye.